Rosie, get down.
This is Monday, October 20th already. Oh my. We got Cindy and Mimi here, and I'm waiting to see. Right now it says 0. We'll see how quickly we've got. Oops, I forgot to turn the volume off my cell phone, and I'm going to have to go live on that and turning it down. I'm still waiting to see. We have 6 people with us right now. It'll grow pretty quick, but let's just give them a minute to join us. I'm finding some of the notifications I don't get for some people. I don't know if you guys are having any trouble getting your notifications. Okay, we can go ahead. We've got 19.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. It is a Monday. There is a lot of confusion that needs to be cleared up over Syria and what's going on. A lot of people are apparently buying into the fear of Russians taking advantage of the situation. Let me tell y'all, stop it. Stop it. We should want the Russians to involve their troops in trying to maintain the ceasefire. Let them be the ones standing between the Turks, the Syrians, and the Kurds, not us. Not us. Don't be afraid of that. A lot of people say, well, gosh, Russia's going to come in and take over. No, no, no. President Trump has no reason to fear a relationship between Russia and Turkey with Erdogan, because Russia cannot, I repeat, Russia cannot apply the devastating economic damage to Erdogan's economy that Trump can. So Russia may think they're getting headway. Maybe they think that. I doubt it. But even if they are involved in trying to keep the peace in that region, which is very tough to do, if it comes down to it, Erdogan would abandon Russia in a heartbeat if Trump gets aggressive with our sanctions against Turkey. So once again, apply the standard, would you? Always just apply the standard. If you want your son or daughter, would you let your son or daughter go over there and stand in the middle of that centuries-old violence and die? Would you want it? Would you allow it? And the answer, I'm sure, from all of you is no. Well, if the answer is no for your children, then it's no for anybody. We do have an interest there, one, and that's the oil fields, the limited number of oil fields they have in northern Syria, eastern Syria. Now, we do want to protect those, not because we get one dime worth of money or value out of those oil fields. We don't. That's not what we want to defend them for. What we cannot allow, and we can't trust anybody else to do, is we cannot allow those oil fields to fall back into the hands of ISIS. Because if they do, ISIS then can fund their expansion globally with the revenue from those fields. So you can expect to see President Trump will keep a presence of military there to protect those fields, those wells. But sometimes I get confused. We all know how the media is. We all know how the Democrats are, and everything they say is a lie. Everything they do is a lie. It's all designed to hurt President Trump and the end result to turn and hurt us. We all know that. But then along comes a story from this same lying, miserable scumbag media that they say something that someone finds favor with, and all of a sudden you believe it. You believe a story just because you want to believe it. Stop believing the media. Stop believing the mainstream press. Stop believing what you hear in a lot of cases in the internet world. Stop it. The truth's right in front of you. The truth is quite simple. And President Trump is not stuttering. I promise you, he is not stuttering with his tweets and his press conferences and telling exactly what he's doing, what he's trying to do, what it's all about. He is the horse's mouth. President Trump is the horse's mouth. So right, wrong, or indifferent, it really doesn't matter. If you want to know the truth, listen to him. He's the one calling the balls and strikes. Not this bunch of backseat armchair quarterbacks critiquing everything he does. And certainly not the media that's trying to manipulate the way they spin everything he does to make him be vulnerable and hopefully defeat him in the upcoming election. Be wise, use wisdom. Please use your head. There are a lot of things happening. These are very tenacious times. A lot of big decisions are being made. Part of the problem is President Trump is making a lot of decisions that should have been made a long time ago, but they weren't. And so now he's having to come along and clean up the mess. And oh, what a mess it is. Believe me, it is a mess. To show you how complicated things are, now here is President Trump on behalf of all of us. Now remember, this is on behalf of all of us, on behalf of the United States of America. He is making progress in a region of the world where historically we haven't had much luck. Haven't had any luck to speak of.
Even Russia hasn't, Larry, when you think of the Afghan war that they were fighting.
Right. I mean, it's a bad place. Don't ever end well. But here he is trying to manipulate and work us through this situation. And what on earth is going on? Here you have Pelosi and several members of Congress that have gone to Jordan, purposely there, stabbing the president and his plans in the back, working against what he's trying to do in the Middle East. That's not only unprecedented, that's treasonous. Treasonous. Our government is not supposed to go around. It would be like trying to defeat Hitler in World War II. At the same time, our Congress, some of our congressmen and women were going and working with Hitler, trying to get him to work to do what they want. You want to talk about a deal? What are they telling the countries? What are Pelosi and them telling these countries? Do what the president asks. Stay with the president. Help him. Do you think they're saying that? No, they're not. We're getting reports in from some of the meetings and some of the things that they're saying some of the things they're trying to do are just.
Oh, he just got bumped off. Oh, shoot. They don't like him talking about this, do they? Somebody, whoever they are. I'm calling him. We'll just go old school. Yeah, you got bumped off. I don't know what happened. Okay, so we were just saying we are getting reports. Now, let me hook up this. No, wait a second. We're not on yet. I've got to hook the speaker in. And it's on, and volume's up, and speaker is on. Okay, go ahead. Now we're getting reports.
I'm sorry, folks, I didn't say it all. We're getting reports. What these groups are doing, and they are working totally diametrically opposing the president's efforts in the Middle East. Now, it's bad enough that the president has to deal with the Russian collusion story, stupidity, Mueller report. It's even worse still now that he's got to deal with this fake phone call whistleblower. That's bad. That any president's got to go through that and try and maintain some semblance of operation of our government. Remember, he is the leader of our government. That's bad enough. But then for them to go into Jordan and deal with the leaders of other countries and their emissaries and trying to undermine his efforts there, are you kidding me? When is enough enough? When does it end? When does it stop?
Probably not until they're locked up, Larry.
It's not going to end until we, the people, wake up. And I'm not talking about the people here with us on this call. I know you're awake. I know you're concerned. I know you're paying attention. But we only have 50% of this country that's buying into all of this, buying into all of it. And simply the best thing we can do, truly the only thing we can do, stay the course and win the election in 2020. Win the election in 2020, and to do that, we must educate. Somehow we have to inform the Trump salt base of the travesty that's going on, and hope to God that they can understand how close we are to a socialist agenda being fulfilled here in this country, and make sure every one of them get up off their butts and go vote in the 2020 election.
Larry, one sec. One sec.
Wait a minute. I'm going to give you another little insight.
No, hang on a second. People are having a hard time understanding. So let me just clarify something. He got a report of what's going on with Pelosi, Schiff, and so on in their dealings with Jordan. I'm sorry, the phone got bumped a little bit, and so we'll take the other questions. This is the best.
It's not just King of Jordan. They are meeting with leaders and ambassadors and enclaves from other countries in the region. It's not just Jordan. Get that understood. And they are working. They are working over there to undermine the president. Middle East. And they're over there, I guess I can tell you part of it, they're over there telling these other countries in that region that they can't trust the president, but that they can trust them. Oh yeah, they're saying you can't trust the president, he won't stand with you, as is proven in Syria with the Kurds, that you can trust us. You bet. And I hope to God those countries aren't as stupid as they would have to be to believe that you could trust Pelosi and that fool she's out with her. Now, there's another thing that I'm going to give you a heads up on. Many of you by now, I hope most of you by now, have heard of the flap with Hillary Clinton claiming that what's her name, Kelsey Gabbard, is really a Russian spy, Russian agent. That's not important. But what is significant is Hillary said that they're worried, I'm paraphrasing, but they're saying they're worried that Gabbard will break off and run as a third-party candidate, which would take votes from the Democratic nominee and could make it virtually impossible for them to beat Trump. Now, what's significant about that? What's the thing I want y'all to get from that? What's going on with her and her claims against Gabbard? You want to know?
Mm-hmm.
See, this is straight out of the Clinton playbook. They're going to run a third-party candidate against Trump. That's what she's telescoping everybody. That's what she's putting out that everybody had better pick up on and better understand. She doesn't want Gabbard and anybody to foil their plans. Their plan is to run a third party to hurt Trump and make it impossible for him to win. So, of course, they're going to that trouble to get a third-party candidate to beat Trump. They can't possibly allow the Democrat Party to have a third-party candidate run that can take points from them.
Larry, you've got to address this. Larry, you've got to address this. Somebody named Biggs said, join the Constitution Party.
And the two-party system means we're relegated at all times, generally, until President Trump, we're relegated to picking the lesser of two evils. We are. Unfortunately, right now, in the upcoming 2020 election, the only chance we have of saving this nation, do you hear me, dear God? The only hope we have of saving this nation is to make sure that we vote for President Trump as the Republican candidate. Don't go breaking off into third and fourth and fifth parties, because all you're doing is splitting the conservative and moral vote. You're splitting it up. Every time you cut a piece of that pie, you split up the vote off of Trump. And that makes him lose. And I would say also, ordinarily, I'm against any Republican or Democrat candidate for Congress, House, or Senate. Ordinarily, I am. But you see what happened to us in 2018. They're not paying attention. The Democrats got control of the House of Representatives. And look at the nightmare that's causing us. We go splitting off once again into third parties, fourth parties, fifth parties, whatever. We go splitting off there, and we're going to concede not only the House, but the Senate to the Democrats. So while I am in agreement that we need another party. I am. I think we've been lied to enough. I think we've been deceived enough to make us never want to vote Republican or Democrat, ever. I just beg you all this time to understand this is not the time to fight that battle. Let's win in 2020. Let's do what we can to try to get at least the Democrats out of control of the House and keep them from having control of the Senate. Let's accomplish those things this time. Then we can come back and build a true party. But there's no way we can start today, folks. There's no way anybody could start today with the Constitutional Party and be able to do anything other than 100%, nothing else other than defeat President Trump and Republicans that we not need to keep the House and Senate to come.
Linda,
do it now.
Hang on.
What?
Linda asked, does the Constitution Party have a candidate? It doesn't matter if they do or not. Do not vote for them. We have to vote for President Trump.
I don't care if they've got George Washington as a candidate. The Constitution Party cannot achieve enough votes starting today, enough votes to win an election. So if they can't win an election, the only thing left that they can do is lose one. Remember, any third party or a combination of the third party, the fourth party candidates, the fifth party candidates, any combination of parties other than the Republican Party that is running conservative candidates, all they got to do is get 5 or 6 points of percent of the vote, and President Trump cannot possibly win, period, zip. And if you don't believe me, then look at what Hillary is telling you. Why do you think Hillary is coming out and trying to make it known now that Gabbard or anybody else should run as a third party for the Democrats? That's because they've got a third party they're planning to run for the Republican Party. Let's stop them, and we can. I will show you how. If it's one of their ringer candidates running as a third party, we can stop it. But if it's one of our people running as a third party, such as a constitutionalist or whatever, a true conservative, somebody doing that, we can't stop it and make it lose, temple lose. What else, man?
Okay. James asked if Tulsi is a tried and true communist posing as a conservative. Is this what they do? And why? And why is Tucker promoting her?
Well, I think that's because he's promoting her. If you call what he does promoting her, I think he's just pointing out a news story that all the other media are not pointing out. It should be a news story that she has been singled out by Hillary. We call the Russian spy or whatever. That is newsworthy. That's a true news story. The other thing, it seems as though Gabbard, which once again you've got to realize, I can't put much faith in what she says because she is a Democrat. She does have, as I understand it, 95% voting record as a Democrat. So I find it hard to believe that some of the right conservative type stands she appears to be taking, I have a lot of trouble believing it's true. You know, she's a Democrat, so therefore she can lie. So I wouldn't support her for dog catcher. I wouldn't. it is, other than the news story of it. By the way, today is the day that the Republicans are trying to launch getting Schiff to step down as chairman of the Intelligence Committee of the House. That will go nowhere. They supposedly got 173 co-sponsors. That's fine. That's really great. But that's not enough to make a difference. Not going to happen.
So are they just doing this for, look what I tried to do, vote?
Exactly why they're doing it. They're doing it for their 15-second soundbite for their campaign, showing that, gosh, we were against all of this. That's all it is, just show, folks. It's just show. Over half of that 173, well, I'm saying over half, probably 70 to 80% of that 173 Republicans that have co-sponsored the bill to make Schiff step down. 70 to 80% of them are 100% lead staters and hate everything about Trump.
So they're just doing it for the soundbite.
Yep.
I'll tell you, you're going to get mad about some of these things, but let's start with the first one that came in from one of the James. Why can't Trump prosecute Pelosi? Of course, Trump can't prosecute anybody. He's not the prosecutor. It would have to be Barr. But why can't they be prosecuted under the Logan Act and arrested the minute they come back?
Well, you said it. Not much sense dealing with the issue anymore than we already have. There's nothing wrong with asking, but you have to understand, to hear the answer, you've got to be willing to understand law. The law of the land is the president cannot order anybody arrested. He can go to the attorney general and make a request. But as we have seen, if he even does that in today's political climate, he will get roasted royally, and they will come up with some way to call that obstruction of justice. So it's not the time for him to even recommend law. But I can tell you that he doesn't need to recommend to Barr. Barr knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly who he's going after and what he has on. So rest easy. Now, unfortunately, Pelosi's not in Barr's sights at the present moment, to my knowledge. What else?
Somebody heard that the Federal Reserve plans to crash the economy if Trump is not ousted.
That's one of those stories that I don't know if it's true. I think that's somebody's imagination. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm not saying the Federal Reserve probably, would like to have him gone. But I don't think let me think of this way. I have not seen nor heard, and I think I would have, of any planned conspiracy of such from the Federal Reserve proper. Now what you got?
Somebody has heard that Elijah Cummings was executed.
No, he wasn't.
He was sick. He was sick.
And,
I heard somebody, no, I'm not going to say what I heard, never mind.
Once again, folks, please stop that kind of stuff. Okay, simply because if we have a new listener listening to us now, that we might be able to get to join with us in the interest of telling the truth, spreading the word to the soft base so we can win this election. and they hear us talking about things like that, they will conclude that we're absolute crazy nuts. And they would be right. What's next? What's next?
Is Kellyanne Conway the whistleblower?
No. 100% absolutely not.
Okay, do you think Tulsi Gabbard is the most dangerous threat on their side, the most dangerous threat to Trump from their side?
She could be, if she were ever allowed to head the ticket, she would be a very serious threat for President Trump, very serious. But she will not be allowed to head that ticket. They will not let her in.
Why? Are you allowed to say?
Sorry?
Are you allowed to say why?
Well, the why is because she is not controllable as it appears. She's independent minded. And I don't think from what I have seen of her, and I could be wrong, remember she votes 95% for the Democrats, so I could very well be wrong. And I can assure you the Democratic Party does not trust her yet. Could be that they just don't have anything on her yet that they can extort and blackmail with yet. They will, they just don't have it yet.
A couple people are saying that she's part of the CFR.
I don't know. I don't know if she is or she isn't.
Ooh, do you think Meghan McCain would be a good candidate for public office?
No.
Do you know who the whistleblower is? Do you know who the whistleblower is?
I can't say.
Okay. And somebody is putting out there, several of us have seen him say this, that Amazon is taking over the elections, control of the votes or something.
Not. Once again, something of that magnitude where I'm at, I would have heard. I have heard nothing of that.
And this is somebody where I brought.
They are a part of the plan to cut off internet to conservative voices and conservative opinions in the election period, closer to the election. So from that, you say, well, what would Amazon have to do? Well, they could stop selling conservative books, etc.
They're already doing that, some.
But they could go at it in a bigger way. That I've heard nothing, and I would have. I promise y'all, I would have heard if such a plot was viable.
Yeah. And I'm going to say again that where we heard that, folks, is somebody that I have asked Larry about many times. So that a lot of the stories that have come out of that source, although they sound very plausible because of what he talks about with his. Yeah, I'll come. The source of that information about Amazon and the elections is someone that I have brought stories to you many times. He sounds very viable because he talks about getting intelligence briefings. And many times I've asked you about a story that has come from him, and you have said you've never heard anything about what he's talking about. And with the people you talk to, you should have heard many of the things I brought to you if they were true. So. And we are not allowed to know. This is a question. Do Trump and Barr talk privately? We're not allowed to know about that, right?
Well, let me say this, I would not comment on that.
Yeah. Do you think Representative Kennedy from Massachusetts has a presidential run in him for 2024?
Don't know. I really don't. I do not know. I think we'll be looking at 2024. President Trump wins in 2020. And if he completes his agenda in his second term that he plans to do, I see very clearly there might be a run by one of the Trump sons. I do.
Yeah.
That still is way off in the future, too early to make any solid prediction. And we got to get past 2020 when Trump wins, and we've got to get past 4 years of the second term with him being able to actually achieve his agenda.
Yeah.
But I do like Kennedy. He seems to be a good man. Seems to. In my view before, than the scene before.
Yeah. Okay, Pastor Roach says the Gateway Pundit is saying there are 2 forged subpoenas coming from Cummings on his deathbed. Breitbart reported it Friday. I saw that report and asked you about it.
Yes, that's one where supposedly the signatories didn't match.
Right.
Is that what you're talking about, Mary Ellen?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I wouldn't put any stock in that, guys. I would not.
Of course, they're showing paperwork that they say proves their point, but as you have told me, I don't remember, I'm not sure if you've told us before, but those kinds of documents can be forged very easily by somebody wanting to do a smear campaign.
Yeah, trust me, the internet has gotten us to the point where we can no longer not just believe what we hear, but you can't believe what you see. And I'm talking about documents, pictures, all of it. It all can be put so easily now on the internet.
Okay, here's an excellent question for 2020. Gerald asks, do you think we should ask for paper ballots if we don't have voter ID?
Absolutely. Every one of you, when you go to vote, demand a paper ballot. I didn't say ask, I said demand a paper ballot. Now they're going to tell you in most cases they don't have them. If they don't have them, then they're breaking the law. They are by law required to keep paper ballots on hand at every precinct, voting precinct, for no other reason than if the ballot goes down or something happens that their machine things don't work. They are bound by law to have backup with paper ballots. So demand your vote be cast on a paper ballot.
Now, for those of us that live in a state where we vote with paper, but then a machine reads it, and like in Maryland, you get no receipt verifying that it was read the way you punched it or marked it.
All you can do at that point is rely on President Trump's team that's working on all of the different strategies in election fraud. They understand these problems and they are working through systems to fix them. So this is one where we've got to let them do what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree with Joseph to keep your stub if your state gives you one. Vote paper and keep the stub. In Maryland, you don't get anything except a little sticker that says, I voted. There's nothing to verify, no way to verify anything here, which is really sad. How do you see Tate Reeves versus Jim Hood for governor of Mississippi?
I don't get involved in those things, folks. I'm sorry.
He concentrates on what's happening in Washington. Do you think Butt Guy will be the chosen candidate for Democrat Progressive Council since they prefer the candidates like him for some reason?
You cut out the
Okay, will Buttigieg be the chosen candidate for the Democrats Progressive Council since they prefer the alphabet people?
He might be, but at this point, it looks as though they are committing every day. It looks like they are more and more committing to Warren. That could change. Right now, that looks like where they're committing.
Yikes. We don't have, let's see.
Now, I will tell you this, that whatever, it would be a tougher candidate for President Trump to run against than Elizabeth Warren. I believe, in my opinion, he would be a tougher candidate to run against. Because he has the perfect ability to draw a bunch of the broken coalition people to come out and vote more strongly. He's going to get the LBZ and the Q thing. He's going to get the queers. He's going to get the hippies and hippies a lot easier and better. He'll get more support from those groups than, say, Warren will. He would be the harder candidate to me.
Sam asked, doesn't Pelosi and the House have oversight of our Defense Department, but not foreign government?
Well, in a way, you're right. But in a way, they're exercising options. I'm not going to say rights. They're exercising options that they don't have. It's not in their power to go around where the president in other countries is trying to negotiate business or national policy to go and undermine what he's doing. That's not in their job description. It's not what they are supposed to do. As a matter of fact, they are almost, I'm saying almost expressly prohibited from doing that. But I'm sure there's some little niche in the law that gives them the wiggle room to go in and do some of it. But it is very seldom done, if ever. I know one other case that was done in, and that had to do with Nicaragua. When President Reagan was trying to support the Contras, and our Congress, the Democrats in our Congress, were negotiating and sending letters, to which I got one of them called the Dear Commandante letter. Jim Wright, Speaker of the House at the time, was the signatory along with 17 other members of Congress. And they were telling Ortega, to calm down, that they were taking care of it in Washington for him to stop doing some of the stuff he was doing. And that's one of the reasons Jim Wright was forced to resign. Although y'all heard about that part. What else you got?
When will the D-Class IG report be released?
I don't know. Let me take this call. Talk to me for a second. I've got to take this.
Yeah.
Just 1 second.
Remember, timing is imperative. It's really important, the timing on something. So even though they announced an anticipated date for release, timing is imperative. If the Democrats are doing something, and they will try to do something to bury the report when it's released. They don't want us finding out what's in there. So if it looks like there's something coming out that would hurt our being able to access the information or hear anything about it, then it's best to wait. So I was talking about the timing, Larry.
Timing of what? I'm sorry.
The timing of releasing the declassified documents. I said if he thinks that the Democrats have something coming out that would bury the story of the release, then he's going to hold off, and he needs time to go through. He's still working on, as far as I know, he's still working on what needs to be redacted and what's safe to release and what needs to be held over for the prosecutions when they happen. Somebody's just getting impatient, just being hopeful.
As I have told y'all before, please be patient. And you want Attorney General Barr to release the report, the unredacted, as much as he can do at the best time, and hopefully without a mistake. That takes time. It's quite an involved document. And so anyway, just hold on. It is coming. That he'll pick the time. We don't.
And then David asks, is it true that Mueller hand-delivered a sample of yellow cake to Putin? Hand-delivered.
I doubt it. I doubt it. All I can say is I doubt it.
Okay, James wants questions read word for word. I'm doing the best I can to understand what's being asked, and sometimes the wording confuses me. So, yeah, I think I asked your question the way it was read. I mean, I think I read your question the way it was asked, James.
What?
I think I read James' question the way it was asked. He was including other countries, Ireland, Belgium, and so on, picking LGBT candidates. So, but I didn't understand what he was saying about that. Do you think Trump will want a new Federal Reserve chairman in his second term?
I don't know. I have not heard him discuss it. So I just really don't know. I know he's not picking the one that's there, but I don't know his position on another one.
Yep. So I don't see any other questions.
Well, since we don't have any right now, it's important for me to say this. You know, guys, I've asked you for help the past 2 days. Need it desperately. If you want the program to keep coming, I want to do it. I want to be here with you. But I got to have your help to pull it off. The schedule I'm under is just about more than I can take, maybe more than anybody can. a sponsor. I hope I'm not. I'm not going to say never because there might be some circumstance that might work, but I doubt it. I'm not going to come here to try to get y'all to buy something that you probably don't need. That might truly be ill-advised and honesty. Just so that I can get a kickback from it. I'm not going to do it. I would rather come to y'all nuts up, tell you straight up. You get your help. So, anything else, ma'am?
I'm sorry, Debbie, we've got a bad connection today. I know that. He sounded great at the beginning and he got bumped off. And so we're having to use this method right now and it's definitely problematic. We have two more questions, Larry.
Jason, thank you. I got Jason. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Yep.
Linda put something in the mail. Can you explain what CERCO is and what the SES, the Senior Executive Services, what those two organizations are?
No, really can't. I'm sorry. I guess maybe I should, but I can't.
Thanks, Jason.
I have never understood the Senior Executive Service other than if it exists, that I guess is just a way to reward, major supporters, or maybe even find a way to include people that, if there's no staff position available. I just don't know. That's an intriguing subject that, I have not had time or the inclination to delve that deep in. But my time is 100% spent today. 100% spent trying to deal with exactly what must be done to save this country from socialism. I have a unique position, at least presently I do, and I'm able to see how close we are to losing the country. And I'm in an okay position to be able to help to do things to stop it. But that's where my entire being is right now, and it's where I think if y'all could only know what all I was involved in, I think that's where you would want me. I promise. I think you would. What else?
There's a question on the Convention of States. Do you want to answer that or do you want me to?
My position is, as it has been on a constitutional convention of the states, in the great, at the end of the great, we could all, we could have this constitutional convention, and the only people that show up were people on our side, true constitutionalists, truly people that want to protect America, to keep us the country we were meant to be. But that's not the only group that's going to show up. So I don't hold much stock that if we did have this constitutional convention of the states, that wouldn't come out necessarily any better than we are today. As a matter of fact, we may very well come out worse. What else do you have?
Okay, somebody, I don't see a question, I see a comment, frankly, so I'm not going to repeat it.
Okay, what is it?
Look, I don't need to put you through the rough. Gloria suggests that Hillary bailed out of the DNC in 2015 and now controls it.
I don't think she certainly does not control the Democratic National Committee or Party any longer. She doesn't control it. As a matter of fact, she's done everything she can to try to wiggle her way into being relevant. But there is a ton of animosity against Hillary within the party. They don't ever want to hear her name again after what she's done to them. And as I've told you before, in their opinion, they should be in charge now. We should already be a socialist country. And the fact that we're not is because of her.
All right, Frankly is saying, what do you know that you can tell us something for sure? For crying out loud, haven't you done that this whole program?
Well, I can only tell you that there's a matter of honor. There's a matter of my word. And there is a matter of clearances that guide me to what I can and can't say that I think I do as good a job in it. Without other people to start this down and comment, I would like to know if I've seen so wishy-washy in my answers and I don't answer anything affirmatively. I try to, but I can't. I don't know exactly how to answer that. I gotta respond to that. I don't hear from somebody else a bunch of these things that I'm not affirmative enough that I don't answer your questions as solidly as we would like to hear an answer to. Y'all send them and tell me now.
Okay. All right, we've got two good questions. Gloria thought that Hillary bailed them out to put Tim Kaine as VP so she could get Wasserman Schultz in to fix the 2016 election. She wants to verify whether that's true before she spreads bad information.
That's not true. That is not true. So thank you, Gloria, for checking before you go spreading that. That's another one of those things that's out there that's just not true.
That's why we have half an hour for questions, so we can verify some of the stuff that we've heard. And, what I hear, I will ask, and there was somebody text, a lot of times if somebody texts me, I'll check with Larry and give an answer. Matthew asks, and Matthew isn't in the chat very often. He asked, what does the average not awake voter need to hear? So that would be what we're trying to do in telling people about making sure they vote, the soft base and so on. What do they need to hear?
Well, I think the thing that the average voter needs to hear from us is the rationale, the reasoning behind why we say we have never been closer to losing our form of government, our constitutional representative in the public form of government to socialism than we are today. That's what I wish you would pound in the people. They have got to understand all of this stuff that's going on, all of this stuff with Trump, all of this stuff with the whistleblower, all of this stuff with the Russian collusion, all of this stuff with how the Democrats and the media are playing Trump's decisions in Syria and the Middle East. All of this is just fodder to help them advance defeating him, because if they defeat him, they will have socialism in their hands, and we will succumb to it. We'll be through. We will be through that this is truly the last election. So when you're talking to the average voter, just simply and as honestly and in as few words as you can, explain this is the last election truly. And President Trump knows we will become a socialist country. If they say, you're crazy, then ask, why did every one of the Democratic nominees for president, every one of them that's running, stand up in the first debate? Although they quit saying it now, but in the first debate, they all stood up, held their hands up that they were Democratic socialists. Democratic socialists. And those words don't go together. You're either socialist or you're not.
Well, the Democrat is only because they plan to take over the power with their 51%, right?
Mm-hmm. So with that, did anybody respond to whether I was correct enough in my answers, or did they not?
Yes, he said, you're good. I know you have to keep where you get your information close to the vest. Thank you for that. Paul said that.
Sometimes anytime you don't think what I got to say is what you need to hear. Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
With that, and then see tomorrow, I probably will do Jason first. But then we'll be back here.
Okay. Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
Okay. God bless you. Okay. Just a couple things. If you want a Never Socialism sticker, bumper sticker, you can get that at the website nicholslive.com. The website nicholslive.com also has the Never Socialism t-shirt. I didn't bring it downstairs with me today. I'll try and have it tomorrow. There is a merchandise page that has this bumper stickers, the t-shirt, Larry's incredible CD, beautiful songs, recorded back before his voice got so scratchy. And the donate page has the link to Larry's PayPal. Does not use it's only his last name, Nichols Live at AOL.com. Sorry, is his PayPal account, Nichols Live at AOL.com. PayPal is the fastest way to get money to him. If you cannot do PayPal, he cannot cash any checks. Do not mail a check to him. If you need to mail a check, there's a phone number 240. I'm going to put it in here right now. You can send a text message. Texts are the best. 240-499-6729, and I'll get back with you. I'll call you back, and you might get the call back from a different phone number. I might use the house line. And we can talk about how much you want to donate and how is the best way and fastest way to get it to him. We did find out over the weekend that we can use Zelle I do have a Bank of America account that I use to pass through donations. When somebody sends a check to me in the mail, I put it into a Bank of America account and forward the money to Larry. I use my own money in that account to pay his phone bill. And that is part of my donation to him. And I understand we did successfully. Somebody wanted to send some money, and as soon as the money is in my Bank of America account, I will send it on to Larry. Somebody sent money to me through Zelle on Saturday night, and that money can pass through pretty quickly. I need to go to the bank in the morning I got a check that needs to go in the bank tomorrow. So when I go in there, I will double check how quickly I can take back out that Zelle money so that I can pass it on to Larry. So how long does it take to get to Larry? You know, it all depends on what part of the country you mail it from. I don't know how long it will take from where you live. Most things from me, if I take it to my regional post office, not put it in my mailbox or go to the local post office, we have a regional post office that cuts 1 or 2 days on the delivery time. And for me, it'll take usually 5 days. But I've seen things take a week to 10 days sometimes, depending on where it's coming from. So it depends on how close you are to a main hub. And I think it seems to be a little slow to get from Little Rock to Conway. Just just from what I have observed, when somebody says I mailed something, and then when I hear, and I check with her every day, did you get it? Did you get it? Oh, you got it today. It's wow, that took longer than I expected. So it does take a while to get something in the mail to him. But if you mail something, it's cash only. Okay, investigator, if you would text me your name and phone number so he can watch for your call. Nowadays, he'll have to watch for it, and he may have to. Your best bet in contacting Larry is to send a text first. So you don't have to go through me. You can text him directly, so he knows that you're planning on calling, because he can then text back if he's working at the time. Pastor, that is incredible. Thank you. Gloria, thank you for what you said about the book. Gloria said, for those who can't see the chat, his book will keep you on edge as well as helping him. And yes, his book, 28 Years to Nowhere, and I'll try and remember to bring that down. You can see it on the website under the merchandise page. 28 Years to Nowhere is his story about the day he left working for Bill Clinton, his fight against Bill Clinton to get him impeached. The impeachment happened because he did all but one of the lawsuits against Bill Clinton that led to his impeachment. He did that himself. He presented them. He represented himself in court, and all those lawsuits are what left him dropping from a very wealthy man to a destitute man. And I've seen where he lives, and I've seen the conditions, and I can vouch for the trouble that they have. And if you look at Google Maps and see that he has a swimming pool in the backyard, there's water there just to keep it from whatever you have to do to keep some water in it. They don't use it, and the pump is broken, so they can't use it. And so don't go all excited about, he's got a swimming pool. Back in the day, everybody had swimming pools around there, and his next door neighbor took theirs out. So, and I know that because, let's just say I know that for multiple reasons, discussing it with Larry. Thank you, Gloria, for your endorsement. 28 Years to Nowhere. Questions are censored with political correctness. I am not a Hillary supporter, absolutely, and I am sorry, James, that I'm not reading your question word for word. I ask the question again right now, and I will touch base with Larry about it and get back to you. I'm sorry that you think that, because I am absolutely not a Hillary supporter. I've got a Hillary for Prison t-shirt and have taken quite the flack for wearing it. So, yes, Larry's on at 3 Eastern with Jason tomorrow and 4 Eastern here. So that's 2 and 3 Central Time. Thanks, Gloria, for being here. So if you want to get the book, the funds were supposed to be divided between Larry and a couple of people that helped to bring the book into print. And instead of doing that, those of us that were supposed to get a cut of the proceeds give it 100% to Larry. So Larry gets all the money when you order the book. I paid to have the book published, and I have not been reimbursed, and I am not asking to be reimbursed. I paid for 2 publishings of the book. We had it republished, and I did that myself, and I have refused to let any of the money be given back to me, and it all goes to Larry. So there was a time when the publisher was getting a 10% cut, and that is no longer happening. So just so you know, folks, I am an avid supporter of Larry and have been for 3 years, and absolutely am. Oh, brother, being accused of being a Hillary supporter is about a bad insult as you can give me. So thank you, James, for saying that. Not. Okay, folks, we got to run. If you can do anything more for Larry, please do. And again, his PayPal is nicholslive@aol.com. And big thank you. And God bless you. We'll talk tomorrow. If there is a change in the timing tomorrow, I will make the change in the title of the video. It says Live with Larry Nichols every day. On Tuesdays, I always say after Jason Goodman, and if that changes, if something happens, I will put it in the title so you know. So, Larry living beyond his means. The only way that he would live beyond his means is not being able to make his electric bill, and therefore getting, we can't afford to have his power shut off because he needs his oxygen. So, you're definitely right, Gloria. Thank you for saying that. All right. God bless you guys. We'll talk tomorrow. Bye.